on Jeb Bush and Donald Trump sparring still over these 9/11 comments and George W. Bush. I actually talked to some people on the ground here as they were waiting to get inside. And one man told me when I asked his reaction, he said, well, I mean, it happened, didn't it? Meaning 9/11 and George W. Bush being president at that time. And a lot of the people that I've spoken to here don't really seem all that bothered by Donald Trump rehashing and bringing back up again the 9/11 remarks.
Okay,
a lot of the people that I've also spoken, yes, please.
Let's take a listen to what Donald Trump is saying right now, just as he gears up here. News at the end of another busy day on the campaign trail. Any minute, Donald Trump will kick off a rally in Anderson, South Carolina. We are watching it for it to begin any minute now. Trump will walk into the room with some new momentum. A brand new NBC News Wall Street Journal poll shows he has more support than ever before. Right now, he has 25% of Republican support. That's, of course, 1/4 of the vote. Ben Carson has 22%. Marco Rubio has 13%. Ted Cruz on 9%. Jeb Bush on 8%. And Carly Fiorina has 7%. No other candidate tops 3%. This strong poll for Trump comes amid a war of words and, of course, tweets with Jeb Bush. Last month in the first Republican debate, Bush said what has become a GOP slogan, that his brother, quote, kept us safe. Now, Trump is trying to poke holes in that claim, observing pointedly that September 11 happened on George W. Bush's watch.
With that being said, I'm not blaming George Bush, but I don't want Jeb Bush to say my brother kept us safe, because September 11th was one of the worst days in the history of this country.
I don't know why he keeps bringing this up. It doesn't show that he's a serious person as it relates to being commander-in-chief and being the architect of a foreign policy. Across the spectrum of foreign policy, Mr. Trump talks about things that as though he's still on The Apprentice.
NBC campaign embed Ali Vitali is live in South Carolina, where Trump's event should start any time now. Ali, good evening.
Good evening, Richard. How are you? The Trump event has actually just started, which explains all of the cheering that you can hear behind us. Donald Trump actually just walked on stage, his signature music playing around us. But some really interesting things happening outside of this event right now. You mentioned the polling that shows him ahead. That's nothing new. He has been atop of the polls for some time now, and it's something that he frequently touts and something that I'm sure we're going to hear tonight in just a few moments. But something else that's going on, again, that you touched on, Jeb Bush and Donald Trump sparring still over these 9/11 comments and George W. Bush. I actually talked to some people on the ground here as they were waiting to get inside. And one man told me when I asked his reaction, he said, well, I mean, it happened, didn't it? Meaning 9/11 and George W. Bush being president at that time. And a lot of the people that I've spoken to here don't really seem all that bothered by Donald Trump rehashing and bringing back up again the 9/11 remarks.
Okay,
a lot of the people that I've also spoken, yes, please.
Let's take a listen to what Donald Trump is saying right now, just as he gears up here.
Change it fast. Gonna change it fast. Amazing. So, a couple of things. I have to congratulate you. You have a football team that's doing pretty good. Clemson. Doing very well. Doing very well. I've been hearing a lot about them. Can they go all the way? I think so. Maybe. Right. That's great. Good luck. We're going to be watching. Going to be interesting. We're going to be watching. So, big Second Amendment. We're all heavy on the Second Amendment. You know, the president's thinking about signing an executive order where he wants to take your guns away. You hear it this way. This is the new. Not going to happen. That won't happen. But that's a tough one. I think that's a tough one for him to do. When you actually have the Second Amendment, that's tough. Because there's plenty of executive orders being signed. You know that. And we can't let that go on. So it'll all stop. It'll all stop. It'll stop very soon, I think, because people are tired of what's going on, and they're tired of what's happening to our country. I wanted to mention, just before I got here, like 10 minutes ago, the Wall Street Journal, NBC, just came out with a new poll, and the headline is, Trump on top, highest points he's gotten so far. I mean, it's number one. Can you believe? Yeah, we're going great. We have the highest number we've had so far, and they just announced, which is hard for them to say that, I have to say. but it's our highest number. We're in #1 position, and you have a lot of people that are not doing well in that poll, I'll have to tell you. You have a lot of zeros. You know, 0, 0, 0. Do you know who we have that has a 0? Lindsey Graham. What's going on with this guy? I don't know him, but you know, he came up to my office. I saw him one time. He wanted a campaign contribution. Shocked. I was shocked to find this out. Long time ago. But he's been so nasty. It's really incredible. Today he was being interviewed, and I turn on, I see Lindsey Graham. I said, what's he doing? Go back to your people in South Carolina, represent your people, and do a good job, you know. But he said, I didn't want to go to Afghanistan. It's not right. No, Afghanistan is where we should have gone, all right? I didn't want to go to Iraq because I didn't want to destabilize the Middle East, but he doesn't understand the difference between one and the other. And it's proven to be right. It's proven to be right. But we've got to make our military so strong, so powerful, so incredible. You know, it's so important. I say it all the time. So strong, so great, so powerful that nobody's going to mess with us. You've heard it. And we've got to take care of our vets. Our vets are being treated. Our vets are being treated so badly. You know, I brought up the subject of illegal immigration, right? Our vets are being, in many cases, treated not as well as illegal immigrants. You saw the other night. Did you see the debate the other night? Can you believe this? All right? They can't give it away fast enough. Now, what they're giving is going to cost you taxes, okay? That's all it is. But they're talking about, for illegal immigrants, Social Security, so many other things. You know, in Los Angeles, 50% of the people getting driver's license, you get a driver's license in Los Angeles, 50% illegal immigrants. And you have to stop it. And we want people to come into the country, but they have to come in legally. They have to. Have to. When I brought up the subject, as you know, a few months ago, hard to believe I've been a politician for 3 months, right? And for 3 months, people have been saying, no, no, the polls must be wrong. The polls, because practically, not only practically, from the beginning, I've been at the top of every poll, including today. And they had an article written in one, you know, from the time this guy, you know, when are they going to get it in their head? We're doing really well. When are they going to get, like, for instance, the cameras down there? You won't see this kind of a crowd. Record crowd. The folks that run the arena, they just came to me. They said, sir, this is the biggest crowd we've ever had. By far. They didn't even say it close. And I tell people, I go home, my wife sees me, she goes, oh, did you have many people? Because we have crowds like this everywhere. The reason, it's not me, it's the message. It's the message. It really is. It's the message. But they have the cameras, look, live cameras, CNN, Fox, everybody, MSNBC, everyone. And they have live cameras, but they don't ever scan the room. Because if they scan the room, what happens is you'll see this kind of outpouring, and it's an outpouring of love. It really is. It's an outpouring of love. Scan the room. Go ahead, folks. We got time. Look, they don't want to move. Unbelievable. Oh, it's the thing I've learned most. And somebody said, what have you learned the most? Thank you, darling. I love you too. You know, they said, what have you learned the most? What's been the biggest surprise? And one, and I can't say about all journalists and all of the media, but a tremendous portion of the media it's so dishonest. It really is dishonest. They don't report the facts. Now, for some people, they report more than the facts. I have to be honest. You know, they have their total prejudice. And for some people, they report things that are opposite. I mean, literally opposite of what I'm talking about. We had one case recently where we were actually in New Hampshire. We had 5,000 people. We had packed. And this was in a small auditorium. And then they had another one next door. And then they had the kitchen. It was in a school. People filling the kitchen with closed circuit. And then Hillary, she was a few miles literally up the road, and she had, they said, 250 people. We had thousands and thousands of people. We had a crowd like this. No, it's crazy, crazy. And then I come back, and the next morning she was on the front page of the New York Times. I said, what about me? What about me? But it doesn't matter because everybody understands it. We understand it. We understand what's happening. And believe me, this is a movement. This is a movement. This is really a movement. And it's a big movement and a strong movement. And we're going to take our country back. It's going to happen. So, I love polls. You know, when I did The Apprentice, I loved ratings because I always had, right? And what happened is I said to the people at NBC, who are terrific people, I had a great relationship with them. Of course, in the end, they thought I was too controversial, so they did a number on Miss Universe. So what I did is I bought them out for peanuts and then flipped the whole thing. It was such a great deal. You would have been so proud of me. You would have been so proud of me. Oh, the deal.
We've been listening to Donald Trump campaigning live in Anderson, South Carolina.
I'm the leading state sponsor of terrorism.